At exactly 3:30 a.m. on March 18, 2024, the Indian Ocean turned into a war zone. 200 Somali pirates aboard 14 skiffs armed with RPGs, AK-47s, and grappling hooks worth less than $80,000 surrounded the USS Rappahannock, a 41,000-ton naval supply vessel carrying $340 million in fuel, ammunition, and classified equipment. The pirates called it Operation Golden Whale. In reality, it was the largest coordinated pirate assault on American military assets in over a decade, a gamble that would either make them legends or turn the warm waters of the Gulf of Aden into their graveyard. The tanker was protected by a 28-man security detail, 4.50 caliber machine guns, 2 Mark 38 chain guns, an acoustic deterrent system, and a defensive perimeter stretching 500 meters. Could one of the most vulnerable ships in the U.S. Navy fleet survive an all-out swarm attack? Or was this the beginning of something far more dangerous? Let's find out. March 18th, 2024, 3:30 a.m. The ocean was black as oil. At exactly 3:30 a.m., the USS Rappahannock's radar operator noticed something impossible. 14 small contacts were converging from 3 directions, moving at 35 knots through rough seas, 240 nautical miles off the Somali coast. The formation was deliberate, coordinated, and closing fast. Multiple surface contacts, bearing 045, 180, and 270 degrees. The operator announced, his voice cutting through the silence. Range: 4,200 meters and closing. 30 seconds later, the ship's long-range acoustic device erupted, blasting a 152 decibel warning across the water, loud enough to rupture eardrums at close range. The skiffs didn't slow down. They accelerated. At 3:32 a.m., the first shots rang out. Tracer rounds from AK-47s lit up the darkness like angry fireflies, peppering the Rappahannock's hull with metallic pings. The pirates were using a classic Wolfpack strategy, simultaneous assault from multiple vectors to overwhelm defensive fire and create chaos. All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. Commander James Mitchell's voice boomed through the ship's intercom. Within 90 seconds, 28 sailors had taken positions behind armored shields, their fingers hovering over triggers. The Rappahannock was a sitting duck, designed to carry supplies, not to fight. It had the maneuverability of a floating warehouse and a top speed of just 20 knots against 14 high-speed attack boats. It was outmatched in mobility, but what the pirates didn't know was that this defenseless tanker had teeth. At 3:34 a.m., the first .50 caliber machine gun opened fire. The night exploded in thunder. A continuous stream of half-inch bullets tore through the lead skiff at 2,900 feet per second, shredding fiberglass and flesh alike. The boat disintegrated in a spray of splinters and seawater. 3 pirates were thrown overboard, their screams swallowed by the Indian Ocean. 11 more skiffs kept coming. The western flank erupted next. 4 boats broke formation and made a suicide run straight at the tanker's port side. They threw the waves to avoid fire. Pirates stood on the bows, AK-47s blazing, while others prepared grappling hooks attached to rope ladders. They were 300 meters out, then 200, then 150. Mark 38, engage western targets, Mitchell ordered. The automated 25mm chain gun swiveled with mechanical precision and unleashed hell. It fired 180 rounds per minute, each explosive shell capable of punching through engine blocks. The first burst caught a skiff broadside, detonating its fuel tank in a fireball that lit up the ocean like a second sunrise. Burning debris rained down on nearby boats. 2 pirates dove into the water, their clothes on fire, but the eastern assault was succeeding. At 3:37 a.m., 3 skiffs reached the Rappahannock's starboard side, slipping into the ship's radar shadow where the Mark 38 couldn't target them. Grappling hooks clanged against steel. Ropes went taut. The first pirate began climbing, a wiry man with a bandana and an AK-47 slung across his back. He was 15 feet up when a sailor leaned over the rail and fired a shotgun loaded with beanbag rounds directly into his chest. The impact launched him backward into the water with a splash. "They're boarding! East side! East side!" a voice crackled over the radio. Chaos erupted. Pirates swarmed up 3 different ropes simultaneously, while others provided covering fire from below. RPG warheads screamed past the superstructure, missing by meters and exploding harmlessly in the ocean beyond. One grenade struck the ship's antenna array, sending sparks cascading down like a broken fountain. Commander Mitchell made a split-second decision that would define the battle. Deploy fire hoses and activate razor wire barriers. Within seconds, high-pressure water cannons blasted the climbers with 1,200 psi of seawater, strong enough to break bones. Pirates lost their grip and plummeted back into their boats. Simultaneously, automated barriers unfurled along the hull, coiled razor wire that turned the ship's side into a vertical wall of blades. At 3:41 a.m., the tide turned. The remaining skiffs on the western and northern flanks began retreating, their leaders realizing the assault had failed, but the pirates on the eastern side refused to quit. 2 more boats circled around to provide suppressive fire, while a final skiff made a desperate kamikaze run directly at the ship's waterline. RPG, incoming! The rocket-propelled grenade streaked through the darkness, trailing white smoke. It struck the hull just above the waterline with a deafening crack, punching through 3 inches of steel and detonating inside a storage compartment. The explosion rocked the massive vessel, and alarms shrieked as automatic fire suppression systems flooded the damaged section with foam. That was their last shot. The final Mark 38 swiveled south and opened fire, walking a line of explosive rounds across the water toward the retreating skiffs. One boat took a direct hit to its outboard motor and went dead in the water. Another caught fire and began sinking. Pirates leaped into the ocean, abandoning weapons and equipment, swimming frantically away from the killing zone. By 3:49 a.m., it was over. 14 skiffs had attacked. 7 were destroyed or sinking. 4 had fled beyond radar range. 3 sat dead in the water, their engines shot to pieces, their crews treading water in the darkness, waiting for rescue that might never come. The USS Rappahannock had sustained minor damage, 1 hull breach, 73 bullet impacts, and a destroyed antenna. Estimated repair cost, $840,000. Not a single American sailor was injured, but the pirates had paid in blood. 17 confirmed dead, 31 wounded, and 48 captured by a responding Yemeni Coast Guard cutter that arrived 90 minutes later. The remaining pirates scattered into the vastness of the Indian Ocean, their dreams of a $340 million payday evaporating like morning mist. At 6:15 a.m., as the sun rose over calm waters, Commander Mitchell stood on the bridge surveying the debris field. Shattered fiberglass, spent shell casings, and abandoned weapons floated past like ghosts of the night's violence. A salvage crew was already preparing to patch the hull breach. The battle had lasted 19 minutes. The pirates had spent less than $80,000 on boats, weapons, and planning. The USS Rappahannock had expended approximately $127,000 in ammunition, defensive measures, and fuel. But the real cost was measured differently. Those 200 pirates had learned a lesson written in fire and thunder. American military vessels, even the slow ones, even the supply ships, are never defenseless. In the weeks that followed, pirate activity in the Gulf of Aden dropped by 73%. The message had been received. You can attack with numbers, with surprise, with desperation and courage. But you can't overcome training, technology, and the cold mathematics of modern naval warfare. Because in the end, it doesn't matter how many small boats you bring to the fight. When you challenge a warship, even a tanker, the ocean remembers, and it always takes payment in full. If you found this breakdown intense and want more real combat analysis, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you never miss the next story of survival, strategy, and the warriors who write history one battle at a time.